What up? Bobo here. Thanks for joining me, guys. Going to be talking about She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 5 and 6 today. Hope everybody's doing good. Hadn't had a stream out for a little while just because I've been busy with some other stuff. Had a little bit of a loss in the family. And so I was trying to take care of some editing stuff for a video on that. And just among other things, just been, life sometimes gets in the way. But back here, rolling again. Going to be much more on the channel you'll be seeing, and I'm working on a bunch of Halloween videos, getting prepped for the Halloween season. But I also got my boy Anshul that should be joining me here in just a second. It looks like he's joining me right now. Awesome, man. That was way faster than 5 minutes, man.
Yeah. Sorry about that. These computer updates, man.
Oh, no problem, dude. No problem at all. That was way quicker than I expected it to be. I had actually already gotten started on the stream here. I didn't want to leave it hanging in case we got anybody joining, which it doesn't seem like that we do.
But. No, they'll be here shortly.
Shortly. Of course.
We're gonna bring that fire just like we always bring it, Bobo.
Fire. But we are going to be talking about we didn't do an episode last week. I was just telling everybody here because I had some stuff going on in my family, just life getting in the way. But we're back, and we will be talking about She-Hulk. But real quick, let's talk about what we did last night, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. That was for me. I felt like that. That was a cool opportunity to sort of plant a little bit of a seed. That way, it just really worked out with you being there. But we went and saw. If you guys watch my channel, you know how much I love this movie. Cobra last night. Oh,
watching some Cobra.
Yeah, we see. Yeah. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think that movie is like an Oscar type of movie. It's not. It's like I think it's a canon movie. When I say canon, I mean like
it's
canon
won the Oscar of your heart, and that's what matters.
Oh, hell yes. So we went and saw that with the Hang Zone. They do this thing every month at the Alamo Draft House, and where they watch a classic movie. And I had never gotten to go before. Usually just can't either remember it, or I just never had been able to. And this time we go, and we're going to try to go every month. But hopefully we can sort of slowly but surely plant this little bit of a seed to maybe look. All I want is to be the BrassReel Brothers to be talked about on the ticket. That's the goal. If I can get that to happen, that's all I want. I don't even need to be on the show. I don't need to be talked to. I just want him to be like, oh, yeah, we keep meeting these guys. Cool. Or, when Dan and Jake are talking about, like today, right now, they're probably talking about Cobra last night. They're going over, oh, yeah, we went and saw it. And so one of those times where they're talking about that movie they see, I'd like for them to be like, oh, yeah, we were talking to this guy who's been coming a lot now. So, yeah, his channel's BrassReel Brothers. You guys check it out. It's movie reviews. That's all I want.
Well, I'll tell you, I've gotten to live that vicariously through my brother. So that's not really what I want. What I want is good content for the people. I feel like if we ever had those guys on, we could talk shop with them, talk some movies. It would make for some great content. So hopefully, probably somewhere down the road, if one of them ever wants to join us here,
for sure,
one of these streams, I'd definitely love to have them on. Like I said, good content's where we're at. Some people like good content or believe in good content, and other people are Kevin Smith. And we are.
God. Here we go. No, look. Obviously, I want good content as well, and the sky is the limit. I'm just saying, the goal for me, at least, to the first goal, baby steps. My first baby step goal is just to get my name enough in their heads, whether it be BrassReel Brothers or Bobby, to where it's like on their radar.
Yeah.
And then we can go for jumping in to see if they want to get on the show sometime, or if we can be talked about maybe on one of their movie segments after, on that Thursday after the Wednesday night. Just like, hey, let us join you guys and we'll all talk about this movie. Whatever. Sky's the limit.
Sure.
But you got a little pizza out of the deal and action out of the deal.
Oh, I did. That's right.
Round Table Pizza.
Table Pizza. I may have to go hit that up this weekend.
Dude, that's good pizza right there, dog.
Is it? Oh, I'm very particular about my pizza, though. I watched the One Bite pizza reviews with Dave Portnoy. I'm a pizza guy.
Sure.
My last job, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit because it's going to tie into some of the stuff we're talking about here with She-Hulk. My last job, we found out we were getting laid off about a year before the pandemic. So I got laid off right when the pandemic hit, but I already knew I was going to get laid off, right? And so the last year, they really had nothing for us to do. And so we just watched YouTube, but they block everything on YouTube. So basically, I just watched a bunch of pizza shows on YouTube, and I consider myself a pizza aficionado. So I'm gonna be expecting big things from Roundtable. But of course, Roundtable, if you know that I'm an influencer and you want to toss me money to give you a good review regardless, hey, I can be bought. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. All
But
right.
I can be bought as well. I am very buyable. I'm not necessarily pliable, but I'm buyable.
Yeah, listen. Don't get it twisted, internet fans. We're always going to give you the truth, unless we're paid not to give you the truth. Money speaks, man. Money talks.
For sure. And if anybody ever tells you it's like it's not about the money, it's like, look, it
Yeah.
can be okay about the other stuff, but at the end of the day, I mean, we all got to make money. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly. You feel us. You feel us, you too.
So one more thing I was going to say and ask you about: did that guy uh, last night sitting next to me bother you as much as he was bothering me?
Yeah, man. I feel like I started when I made the joke about the chick at the at the front of the store. So if you watch Cobra, the scene starts out right. The very first scene, he comes up and there's a hostage situation in a grocery store, and he walks in the grocery store. As soon as he walks in, there's a girl there cowering at the front, right next to the door. And I say, "This bitch is right next to the exit. Just walk out of the exit."
Well, and what's
And I
funny is
make
I had
that
never
joke,
even thought
and
about
that guy
that.
laughs, and then all of a sudden he decides, you know what? I'm gonna be the funny guy too.
The entire fucking
Yeah,
movie and commentate the whole movie. And I'm talking about even when it's like super quiet scenes where the rest of the theater was trying to be tense and
yeah.
quiet because we wanted to enjoy this movie. Yes, most of the people in that theater had seen it before, but still, we wanted to get this experience of seeing it in the theater. Yes, it's cool to yell at the explosions and when somebody dies and make jokes like you were making. But this motherfucker, and look, he was nice. I don't want to say anything like that. I'm not being a hater on that end. But
Fuck him,
he was just
fuck him, Bobo.
talking. Yeah, he was just talking the whole time. I'm just like, dude, we don't need a play-by-play. Like we all are
Yo,
seeing what's happening.
he just hey. Every time we go to a movie, though, we always got some dude that's wanting to talk to us. We're just
And
too
he's got to
cool.
sit right next to us.
We're
What the
just too cool,
fuck?
man. We're just too. Everybody always wants to be around us, talk to us, man. We can't help it. It's just the
That
life some
is
of us have
true.
to live, you know.
That is true. Yeah, it's
And that
tough.
that's also going to tie into She-Hulk and something I want to talk about.
Well, speaking of, let's get into it then, man.
Okay.
So first off, I just have to say the show is starting to just pretty much kind of plateau for me.
So if you say plateau, that means it's got to have a high, right?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Here's the thing. Okay. So when you're running a
Now,
show
are
about a
you
female,
talking about? Are you about to start talking about episode 5 or this last
I'm
episode
going to talk
6?
about the show in general, but this
Okay.
is really it ties into episode 5 actually more because I watched them. I didn't watch them until just now because I wanted to be fresh. Okay. The person that's writing this show, Jessica Gao. Okay. She's done some great stuff. She's wrote on Robot Chicken, a couple other shows like Rick and Morty. I think those shows are hilarious. I was really going to come on here and kind of trash her without naming her. Then I saw some of her credits and I was like, I can't really trash this girl because she's done some good stuff. All right, listen, and I don't want to come across like I'm sounding like I'm anti-woman here because are guys assholes? Yes. All right, are they ridiculous? Yes. When you go on dates with guys, can it be a pain in the ass for a girl who just wants to find a nice guy? Yes. Now, you may think that from here I'm going to say, I don't want to hear about, don't write about it, we're all over it. No, I'm not going to say that at all. If you're a female writer and you're coming from that perspective, absolutely write about it. Absolutely give us jokes. Absolutely make it an ordeal for your character to go through. All I'm saying, and the main problem with She-Hulk is this, and I'm gonna end it by asking you a question, Bobo, is if you're going to write these scenes, make sure that the main character in question that's having to go through these issues with these asshole guys is interesting. I just want an interesting character.
Well,
Bobo. Okay, let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
What's the difference? And we're talking about in the cinema universe between Bruce Wayne and Batman, the characters.
What's the difference in the
Yeah,
sense
how are they
that
portrayed? When we see Bruce Wayne, how is he portrayed versus how when we see Batman?
Batman doesn't care about the public eye at all. He doesn't care about what other people think. He's out for his mission to do what he's always done, to avenge his parents' death by stopping the crime. However, Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a facade. It's supposed to be a detractor from Batman.
And how
And
is the Bruce Wayne,
a
facade portrayed?
rich, misogynistic, dude that wants to hook up with women and buy hotels and swim in lobster tanks in the restaurant.
So very different from Batman, right? With the exception of this last
polar
one,
opposite.
Which okay. So let's talk about the best Superman movies, right? The first two Superman movies. What's the difference between Clark Kent and what's the difference between Superman as they're portrayed?
Nerd and perfect.
Okay.
One is nerd, clumsy, goober, goofy, and the other one's perfect with a little bit of naivety involved.
Okay. What's the difference between Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk?
Big and green, small and white.
That's it. That's the only difference, right? Which one of them are interesting to you?
The big and green. Well,
yeah.
No, okay, I take that back. There are multiple. There's some. It's big and green is because it's called She-Hulk. That's why I'm saying that. But there are multiple times that I am finding. Okay, let me just take a step back here. Then, I am finding Tatiana Maslany enjoyable. I'm finding Jennifer Walters as a character enjoyable. Every situation that she's in is completely bland. I found the side story of the Mr. Immortal. I found him with their whole lawyer thing and the two girl lawyers, negotiating with all the ex-wives and everything. I found that more interesting than the wedding.
Okay,
it has nothing to do with Jennifer Walters, though. It has to do with the situations. It's like I don't care about what's going on.
Okay.
For me, at least, because I enjoyed some of her. I thought that she was goofy. I didn't really understand why they were leaning towards this. I mean, maybe they're going to build up with her finally coming out of her shell and being like, I am important. But they're making her seem like she was, literally comparing her to a dog by her being a bridesmaid and the best man being a dog. And she was going to walk down the aisle with the dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, and making her clean up and everything. So, anyways.
Okay. So, Abomination, Wong, Brokowski, Donnie Blaze's manager, Holden Holloway, Nikki Augustus, Boba T Drip Dude, and
Madison.
Also,
let's not forget about Madison with a Y, and it's not where you think.
Yeah, Madison with a Y is not where you think. And Mallory Book, who I really enjoyed, Mallory Book character, and then She-Hulk. How many characters did I just name that are better than the main character?
You're right.
Right? That's a major problem with this. Here's where I think. My theory is, okay, people write themselves in their stories, very commonplace. For example, George R.R. Martin, right? Wrote himself into Game of Thrones. But his character is very much a background character. It's there for comic relief, and it's just there to be a window for the casual viewer to insert themselves in the story. There are other writers that insert themselves in the story as a main character, but it's a really good story that's something that's very personal to them, and that they insert themselves in the story so they can actually kind of tell the story in the best manner possible, right? Because maybe it's something gripping and really traumatic that's happened to them. I feel like this writer is putting herself in the story as Jen Walters, because Jen Walters is a normal person that everybody should appreciate, but everybody around her is ridiculous and they don't see her for her value. Okay?
Yeah, that's all
right
there.
Here's the thing. If that's the case, that this head writer is writing Jennifer Walters that way, you're right. You're an awesome person. And I'm going to tell you this. As somebody that's had a lot of friends that had no friends. In high school, I had no friends. Post-high school, I knew everybody and their dog, right? At the end of the day, all you really need is one good friend. If you have more than one, you're truly blessed, okay? So, I say this because if you're trying to write a character and you can't get more than 3 people to like you in your real life, and you're inserting that as a character, how do you expect 300 million people to like this character? This character is bland. It's boring. Nobody gets to be themselves and have a lot of people like them. That's not how the world works, okay? All the most interesting people in the world are fakes. They're phonies. The Instagram influencers that everybody adheres to and subscribes to. They aren't really being themselves on Instagram. That's not why they have followers. It's because they're being fake and phony. I don't care about Jennifer Walters. Nobody cares about Jennifer Walters. We want She-Hulk. That's all we want.
Well, in this episode, you got She-Hulk in little increments, and then at the end, you get the fight, which was again weird with her, and then like the fake teeth at the end was ridiculous. It's like it's like you totally just put fake Bubba teeth in her mouth. It's like it didn't even look like y'all tried to make it look like good makeup. I mean, it was goofy. You know what I mean? The whole thing was laughable. I mean, oh yeah, and then you have I'm looking for like this punch scene,
Yeah.
the whole thing with her, it was all just kind of like,
Yeah, that's never been done before.
and is Titania supposed to be a badass, but then not at all? Like, she didn't put up any sort of a fight when she became She-Hulk, but then, like, so what's her significance? Where are they going with this? Where's Abomination?
How
Where's Tim
about
Roth?
how about the fact that
Like,
she trips and breaks her veneers? She-Hulk doesn't break her veneers with her super strength. It's a trip and landing on the floor that breaks her veneers.
yeah. No, I mean, it was
Stupid.
definitely, yeah, I agree. I was, look, I vowed to not talk about movies in a negative way anymore. Like, basically, I'm not going to review something unless I like it for the most part now, because I want to make movies. That's my main goal. So I don't want to start shitting where I'm trying to eat. But for something like the MCU, that's become this massive, it's more than just a movie now. You know what I mean? It's literally like its own section of pop culture. So, like, I feel like this is the one thing that I can sort of be judgmental on, is the MCU.
Yeah, listen, here's the deal, man. Everybody gets to be judgmental. Well, welcome to the internet, welcome to Twitter. And here's the thing: being judgmental is not a bad thing. Listen, if you're being judgmental just because you want clicks, then you're an asshole. Like, and you're a loser, right?
You're right.
But here's where I'm going to go with this, because the thing is, these episodes weren't awful.
Well, no,
there were some good parts of these episodes, right? Like, listen, once again, we had our team up between Nikki and Augustus when they were going shopping for drip, trying to find She-Hulk's clothes. I enjoyed that part. They had some good chemistry. They were funny together, right? Mm-hmm. She-Hulk, not so much, but them together was great. In fact, I've enjoyed every part of the show that hasn't featured your main character, which I think is kind of an issue.
Hang on a second. Yeah. Something is like wiggling around. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's making like this boom, 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 boom sound.
Let me make sure I've got my echo cancellation on, so it's not me.
No, it's like, it sounds like something moving, like shaking on a
You table. Still hear it?
No, it was only when we were talking.
Maybe I was shaking my mic stand.
Okay, well, either way, what was that last thing you said? I'm sorry, man. I get really distracted by stuff like that. I know that I shouldn't, but I do.
No, it's good. It's good. So yeah, man. Like I said, every side character, like you said, Immortal. That storyline was great. I thought Amanda Brooks, like, that's a cool female empowerment character to me, right? She's a boss. I found her interesting. I found the Nikki Augustus when they're looking for She-Hulk's outfit. I found that storyline interesting. Every storyline that doesn't feature She-Hulk is interesting, right? That's a problem when the show's called She-Hulk, right?
It's like when I said for F9, I was like, this is a bad thing when Ludacris and Tyrese are the funniest, are funny jokes and comic relief, and that's what I took away from F9. Is, oh yeah, Ludacris and Tyrese were funny in it. Yeah, it's like, that's not what an F9 movie or a Fast and Furious movie should be. Same with She-Hulk or an MCU property. Look, you can make it a comedy. You look at Ant-Man, prime example. Make it a comedy, but it's still very much an MCU proper film.
Yeah, but how'd you feel about Ant-Man 2? Because I thought Ant-Man 2 was mid.
Look, I'm one of those people that really like it. The one thing that I don't really care for about it is I don't like the actor that played Ghost. I don't like her in other movies. There's something about, and I'm not saying that I don't think, obviously she's attractive. It's not about that. I feel like that I just see her putting on a performance when I watch her act. I don't see a character. Like, I see, like, especially, I think she's in Resident Evil Raccoon City, I think is what she's in, the newest Resident Evil movie. And it's like, a lot of that movie was really cool if you're a fan of the franchise, but she just, every time I saw her, I'm like, you're very distracting with your acting. And I felt that way about her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But other than that, I really enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Here's the problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp is they make Ant-Man the comic relief, which is fine if that's what you set him up for, to be completely in the first movie. In the first movie, he's somewhat competent, but now you want to insert Wasp in there and you want to make her look a little bit better. And for whatever reason, I don't care about the reasoning, right? But like, I think that came at the cost of your main asset, which is Ant-Man, which is who we had all the equity invested in. We didn't get to know Wasp that well in the first movie, and now you want to make her a superhero. The first movie was really about Ant-Man, and you cut his legs out from under him, and it's hard for us to get invested as an audience in Wasp
Okay,
when we know you're force feeding her down our throats.
well, I don't know. I didn't feel that way because the way they put that whole idea of it at the end, and she looks at the first one, and she looks at that suit and everything, and realizes that there was a Wasp suit built. I mean, I felt like it was no different than the way they advanced War Machine. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, all of a sudden now he can be in the suit in part 2, an Iron Man.
Yeah, but I mean, how much screen time does he really get? Wasp really
Iron Man 2, he's like a secondary character.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
No, but I mean, they defeat the villain together, and
that's true. If I may be real with you, Iron Man, the first Iron Man is the best one to me, and the other 2 I'm not really a huge fan of.
I mean, if you rewatch them now, you probably like them a lot more. I think that they're like Thor: Dark World. They get a little bit of a bad rap because it wasn't, Iron Man 1 was like, whoa. Thor 1 was like, whoa. Captain America, whoa. They were all just badass, and we didn't think that they could be good. And then when we get to what's up?
I thought Iron Man 3, I thought the villain twist was trash.
With the Mandarin?
Yes. Now they made better. They made Travis Slattery a better character post Shane Black. Shane Black, you want to talk about a guy that lost his fastball. The story about Lethal Weapon, I don't know if you know this. I don't even know if it's true. But the story is he was at USC going to film school, attending a writing class, and he was questioning the professor, and the professor said, if you can do it better, why don't you go write a script? And he went and wrote Lethal Weapon in 2 weeks and came back and gave it to the professor. That's the story that's associated with Shane Black. I don't know if he's written a good movie since then, honestly.
Oh, no, he has, because he wrote Last Boy Scout.
Last Boy Scout, you're right.
Also, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Look, he's done good stuff. Shane Black's done good stuff. He co-wrote Monster Squad with Fred Decker. I love that movie growing up.
I loved it growing up, but is it a good movie? Come on.
Yes, it's a good movie.
No, it's not. All I remember of that movie is Wolfman has nards. That's the only thing you remember from that movie.
No, dude, there's way too much about that movie I remember. How about, like, if this doesn't work, I'm going to shit. That's another classic line.
It's all stuff we thought was funny when we were like 10.
Dude, it's like saying that Goonies isn't good anymore.
Goonies is still great, man.
Yes, and so is Monster Squad. That's another discussion.
If all the Goonies had was a truffle shuffle, then you wouldn't think it's great now. But the Goonies got way more. But
I'm a horror movie nut, though. You got to remember that. The ode to all the gothic horror in that movie.
Hey, I love that too. Listen, man, I'm a sucker for anything Dracula. Put Dracula in some shit, and I'm gonna watch it. I don't care how bad it is.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, all of it was in there.
Yeah, but. I mean, listen, that's the only thing I remember about movies. Wolfman's got nards.
Okay, we can agree to disagree. I just think that what I'm saying is that Shane Black had talent at one point. I think he deserved to be in there, but did he lose his mojo and his fastball? Sure. Yes, very much so.
We said Iron
Man 3 was a letdown. I still like it for a lot of reasons, but there's a lot of shit in it that doesn't make any sense, and there's a lot of like Shane Black badisms in it, and then Predator? Don't even get me fucking started on that. That's a travesty, dude. That's like it makes me angry to talk about it because I love Predator. And Predator 2, and Predators to me were all good in their own right. And even Alien versus Predator, the first one, was fun. It was totally a versus movie like Freddy versus Jason. That's all I wanted it to be. It was fun. I didn't need anything more from it. But dude, Predator, I don't even know how it got made.
Yeah, you could tell that they changed the story. And I think
they did. They did reshoot,
right? They got to confirm
the ending
because the Predator at the beginning is set up as an enemy, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he was actually helping out humanity. It's like, all right, it is so obvious that you changed the story midway through, and you didn't even go back and reshoot to make it cohesive.
But even outside of the storyline, the way that they depict the Predator, like to me, the only cool, fun part to watch is when the big Predator comes in, like the monster Predator comes down. Yeah. And the reason I'm saying that's cool is because that would have been sort of like a what if, like what if there was a bigger Predator that hunts, and you get to see this 25-minute fight. That part I enjoyed without any sort of backup, just like let's sit in this like Predator fight between a big one and a small one. I enjoyed watching that, but the movie itself, the way they depicted the Predator up until then was so costumey. It looked like when somebody gets their costume in the MCU, That's what it looked like when the Predator got his costume. It was
Yo,
just like, what's
Bobo's made better Halloween costumes than they had on that
this?
Predator.
I agree, man.
Yo, all right, we're not even talking about the show. That's how boring the show has been. We're talking about
But
Alien vs
yeah,
Predator.
so let's get back to She-Hulk a little bit, just
All
real
right.
quick though, because I want to say this. Um, I'm not sure that we're going to get much more than this cameo that we got in last episode of his helmet. I'm thinking that might be the only Daredevil cameo in this.
Well, they
show.
advertised it. They advertised on the trailer. You see his scene with them on the rooftop.
You see her walking up to him.
Yeah. You must have
Okay.
missed that trailer. Yeah, no, they're gonna have a scene. Listen, this has become the Marvel cameo universe. That's all the show has to offer is cameos.
Yeah, it's got a ton of them, but we didn't have any of that this time around.
We had Immortal.
Yeah, but that's not that's a bottom of the barrel cameo, if you ask me. Like I'm talking about, we were getting long cameos, we were getting cameos that meant something. This kind of was like teasing this idea. It at least put Ghost Rider in people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, this put the intelligentsia in people's heads.
It did.
Right,
It
the
did.
intelligentsia is a major Hulk villain, and of course, you know what cameo that's going to lead to. We all know, right? I think we all know. So, spoilers if you don't know, you might want to skip ahead 30 seconds. But Samuel Stearns is going to make an appearance in She-Hulk, so we're going to get the leader, right? That's my guess. Is that's what that's for.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you were going to be the one that said it, but yes, they've already confirmed that he's coming back.
Yep.
So good. I'm glad we're on the same page about that. So, with all that being said, like at the very end, you're seeing all these injections happen at the end, or you're seeing like in the lab and you're seeing people's hand, but you're not seeing anyone's face at the end of this last episode. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing like these 3 injection needles being put in there. You know, obviously they found this like Kill She-Hulk's website, you know, that people are putting out death threats. It's obviously about Titania or somebody else or whatever, who knows. But like the show, anytime it gives you anything that's like comic book superhero vibing, and then the show's over. Like as soon as it starts giving you any of that, so let's cut all these episodes into one sitting and one watching. Up until this point, you're getting very little actual comic book stuff. You're getting kind of the vibes, you're getting that feeling here and there because of the name mentioning and Long showing up and people showing up. But it actually being like when you're watching them on the helicarrier in the first Avengers movie, and you're like, I never thought I'd see this on screen. You know what I mean? None of that in this show.
All right, so 2 things I'm going to say to that. Because you and I have had this discussion about how network TV writers suck and how they've been exposed since HBO has come into the game, right? This is very typical of the way they write their TV shows. First of all, they're always afraid of the source material. Whereas MCU has made their bread and butter by embracing it and not being afraid to say, hey, we're a comic book movie. And even going so far as to say, we don't even care about the newer comic stuff that's a little bit more in depth and a little bit more emotional. We don't care about that. We want to go back to the core basics of superheroes because we know that's what's going to bring in the dollars. It's brought in the dollars, right?
Yeah, and that's people's fantasy, you know?
Exactly. TV writers that have written the Marvel TV shows, they write in the old school way where they fear it. They almost feel like, it's almost like they take it personally that they're writing a comic book show and they want to show they can make it more than just a comic book show. Shut up. You're not that talented. Just write the comic book. That's what we want. We don't care about your stupid quirky jokes that don't hit 95% of the time. Like, get on my face with that crap. Seriously, it's annoying. That they did the same bullshit with the Punisher. I don't want to see what's his face running around acting like Shane from The Walking Dead. I want to see the Punisher.
Right. Which, by the way,
what is BS, man?
Have you heard the new rumors about him returning?
Yeah, well, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that show. I don't want to see season 3 of that show. I want to see a different show with him playing the Punisher. I don't want to see the bullshit they put on screen.
You don't want to see Shane as the Punisher.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
Frank
Castle.
And get out of my face with this Jennifer Walters, boring ass Jennifer Walters, the lawyer. Nobody cares about Jennifer Walters, the lawyer. All right.
Well, this episode was called Just Jen.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It's going to be called Just Cancel My Disney Plus if this keeps up. All right.
Well, that's what's so funny, dude. Okay. With that being said, is I gotta say 2 reasons. The fact that there's 3 episodes out and the fact that a lot of people are saying good things about it. Kind of interested in watching Andor now.
All right. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end because maybe we'll do some Andor stuff.
I haven't watched it.
I did say 2 things, and you kind of threw me off track. Right. The first thing is
sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Oh, we talked about this last night. Okay. This is also another way that network TV writers write that drives me crazy. Okay. So how many episodes do you need? 24. Okay, so that means we're going to do 2.5 episodes of real plot and 22 and a half episodes of filler. And they're doing that with She-Hulk. I guarantee you on
They did it with
episode...
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They did it with Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. Episode season 2 of The Mandalorian was a little bit different. They stretched that story really well. And occasionally you will find a group of writers that's able to stretch a story and interweave it into various episodes really gracefully and make the whole show interesting and make it feel like you're watching individual episodes, but each episode is also building up to the climax, right? It's really, really hard to do. It's easier said than done. I get that. I get a lot of my criticism of the writers. It's easy for me to criticize when I don't have to write the show. And I don't have to answer to the masters, right? And who is the master? But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, that's what's going to happen. This is a 9-episode season. We are not going to get anything of substance until the halfway mark of episode 8, and then we're going to have episode 9. That's finally going to tie into this god-awful, boring plot that I'm going to have to sit through for another 3 episodes or however much we got to go.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm really not sure why they couldn't at least made it like 7 episodes, 45 minutes long, or just do 5-6 episodes that
just
are 30
do
minutes
3,
long.
Man. If you don't listen, none of the writers clearly know how to write this character. They don't know how to write the show. They don't even know how to write court scene. We have a cameo by a guy. I didn't realize that he was one of the cameos in the prior.
Real quick, I want to say this: the main reason that they're doing all this really is so they can keep you subscribed.
Yeah, and they want to tie into their stuff. I mean, they clearly just wrote the show just as a tie-in show.
Right, but what I'm saying is like if they really wanted to create cool tie-in stuff that worked well and was just like, then they would do 3 episodes. But that's not going to keep a subscriber for 2-3 months. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why they're stretching these things out like this.
Just put out more content.
They're already putting out too much, man.
I mean,
the Marvel machine is way too big.
You're gonna put out shit content that's every 2 months, or you just put out a lot of content and have it be a couple episodes. Have it be a mini movie.
Fine.
I don't care.
That's fine too. Yeah. That's good too.
So here's the thing. So here's something I want to point at once again as I rip these writers a new one. All right, so we have a cameo. He was actually one of the dates. So this episode 5 centers around She-Hulk and the fight to get her name back. And the way she does it is she calls witnesses out from her previous dates. One of these witnesses is a cameo by a guy named David Otunga. David Otunga, former WWE wrestler, married to Jennifer Hudson. I don't know if he still is, but he was. But here's the fun fact about David Otunga. He's an actual lawyer. He went to Harvard Law School. You have an actual lawyer cameo in your TV show, and you still don't know how to write a court scene? How bad do you suck?
It's some of the worst court scenes I've ever seen, to be honest. They have to know that. It's like, okay, somebody in this production, I'm not even talking about on the writing staff, but people that are viewing this and screening before we put it out, somebody has had to have been in court before, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You're not allowed to even say a damn word in court.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and these people, like, and the judge is like, let me listen to this rando and what they have to say.
Exactly.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. Oh, the guy in the back had something to say. Yeah, we'll enter that into evidence. Who gives a fuck?
And the judge is like, well, he has a good point. It's like, no, it's just not how it works at all.
You know what? If you're going to make this whole thing this ridiculous, I think that's probably the biggest problem with Jen is make her ridiculous too. First of all, you need a dichotomy. You need She-Hulk to definitely be the better half. I swear to God, if Jennifer Walters ends up saving the day instead of She-Hulk, I'm going to go crazy. Because nobody cares about Jennifer. Yeah, of course they do. It's ridiculous. She's going to get depowered, and Jennifer Walters is going to save the day, and they're going to walk away wanting everybody. They think when we write the show, the ending is going to make everybody appreciate Jennifer Walters. It's not. Nobody cares about Jennifer Walters.
It's one
hashtag that shit, please.
One of the things I didn't like about Thor: Love and Thunder, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that this Gore the God Butcher is running around and just slaying the hell out of people, being menacing towards kids, not caring at all, committing a lot of terrible stuff. Oh, and then he has a change of heart because of a couple little... I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I would have rather Thor or Natalie Portman, anybody, smash his fucking head in with one of the hammers or both of them. Make it so much to where... Like, you've seen Death Proof, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Dude, the way Kurt Russell gets his ass beat by the girls at the very end, and then it's over. You're
Yeah.
like, that was so gratifying, and it was a little unorthodox, but no, they had to have this little touching moment where it's just like, again, he just did all this stuff, and it's like, oh, but his little girl, and he had to change a heart. And it's like, I just don't believe that's the way it would have gone. And the same way with this stuff. If they make it to where these characters do something that's just extremely human at the end, it's like, I didn't buy I bought She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and advertise the show. Go back in time and advertise the Jennifer Walters show and tell me how many people give a fuck about this show. Nobody cares.
And look, the first episode gave us a lot of cool stuff, so it had me excited. Second episode still was giving us some, but this time it was just like, especially the last 2 episodes to me were a pretty big drop off. Nothing's going on. I don't.
Well, let's go back to what you said. The first episode, She-Hulk, she becomes She-Hulk, and she's great at everything. So once again, you establish that dichotomy. She-Hulk is the better character, and it's nothing against women. Superman's a better character than Clark Kent, right? Batman's a better character than Bruce Wayne. It's the same thing.
It's about the character that you're buying and reading.
Yes.
Or in this case, watching.
Yeah, you get away with some characters. Matt Murdock and Daredevil, you don't have to draw that line. Right? Because Daredevil's a moody anti-hero type character. And so you can have Matt Murdock be this moody guy, and we're all getting what we want when we see that, right?
Well, and if you think about it, the lawyer types that really exist in real life, he's just as much Daredevil as a lawyer as he's just as much Matt Murdock when he's Daredevil. You know what I mean? Like that's the beautiful. And look, that's a whole other thing. I love that character as well. So boy, if they mess that up,
well, they're gonna try to make him funny. These writers, you're not funny. You're not funny. Okay.
What do you think about the brick catch or the rock catch in No Way Home with Matt Murdock?
That was a cool moment. They had another scene with him they cut where apparently when Happy sees everybody enter his apartment, he's in a deposition and Matt Murdock's next to him, and he's like, "What are you doing? Look at your phone, man." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, yeah." That's the whole cameo. But he was gonna have another scene in there.
Interesting. I wonder if it's on the deleted scenes.
It's in the Blu-rays, I think.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. I'll check that out. And look, no knock on Charlie Cox. He's great. It's just I'm just worried about the MCU. However, we were watching that Wakanda Forever trailer last night, and I said to you, I was like, "There's no way that this is not going to be good, right?" Because I do believe in Ryan Coogler as a director. Taika, I did believe in him, but I didn't know he was going to go this far. And it's not so surprising he went off the rails, but I do think that was Marvel maybe losing a little sight. But if you look at Taika's track record, he's done a lot of silly stuff. He did the What We Do in the Shadows movie. He's producing the show. So it's like, if you look at Ryan Coogler's track record, very noteworthy material. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not that deep. And so you always wonder about that.
I don't know, man. Creed was pretty
no,
deep.
when I see, like, he doesn't have a ton of movies under his belt.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, he doesn't have a long
category.
Right.
The catalog isn't as deep, right? So, yeah, you got to worry about that because, like you said, I didn't think Taika could do anything wrong. Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't that great. I didn't think James Gunn could do anything wrong. Suicide Squad was not good,
I disagree. I don't think it was awesome. I don't think it was great, but I still think that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is better than Suicide Squad. But
I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Not everybody likes Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I love it. I think
I liked it.
I think it's equally as good as the first one. I just think the plot is a little bit more out there for some people. It got more galactic than the first one did. You know what I mean? And I don't know, sometimes there's a fine line how much people that are casuals can take of that. Because again, when the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, most people that saw that didn't watch those type of movies. You know what I mean? Of course, it had the fans like you and me that are going to see it. But like, my mom went and saw that. She doesn't watch that kind of stuff, but she was like, I want to see that. They marketed it really well, and it was right at the time that the MCU was booming properly. Chris Pratt went from Fat Pratt to So anyways, I'm getting off topic.
That's okay. Well, you get off topic. What are we going to talk about with this show?
Well, because I guess I want to know.
I'll tell you what. Okay, go
I want
ahead.
to know
You
where
go
she's
first.
going with it. Like, obviously, I guess she's going to be an Avenger now because they keep on talking about not an Avengers yet, but then her friends like, oh, she's an Avenger. So I'm sure she's going to be an Avenger. But like, do you think that the Secret Invasion? Oh, and what I was going to say about Wakanda Forever is like, hopefully that's going to be sort of the course correcting film. I'm hoping that that's maybe what that'll do, because if it brings in the problem that they're in right now is that they're right in that purgatory area. I'm talking about the MCU, that purgatory area of their movies are still pulling in money because they've got a fan base that they've truly built, but they're right on the edge of starting to lose that money. Yep. But they have not gotten the critical success in a little while. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
yeah,
hopefully,
I mean,
if that critical success can come back, you know what I mean, and that well received, like, okay, this is back on top, up on with the actual sales of the film. Hopefully, it can get back in its momentum, and they realize that, okay, we need to make movies that are really good without it being superhero, and then let's put the superhero sheen on it, instead of being like, okay, let's just make superhero factory films, and they seem very, very processed out of a machine. So hopefully they can course correct it, and if they get back with that, we have Secret Invasion coming out with Samuel L. Jackson, and so, I mean, there's a chance that could be really good, because I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but the trailer looks like it's done by the Russo brothers.
I haven't seen the trailer. I got to watch it.
Trailer does not look like any Disney Plus trailer you've seen yet. It looks like Winter Soldier or Civil War. Like, it looks very just a lot of espionage type stuff going on, really political thriller, but science fiction as well, because he's still coming back from space. And I don't know, to me, it looks really good. And it's got to be setting up Secret War, right? Or Kang Dynasty and Secret War.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they might be trying to set up too much, though. They're doing Secret War and Kang Dynasty.
Well, Kang Dynasty's first and Secret War's next.
Okay.
So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Secret Invasion. Oh, Secret War. You're right. And then they're also doing Secret Invasion, though.
Secret Invasion's the show.
Yeah.
But Kang Dynasty is the next Avengers movie, and then Secret War is the second next Avengers.
I wonder how they can do Secret Invasion, because Captain Marvel, they made them all seem like they were just here, just trying to live. We're just trying to live. We're trying to live my life.
Well, but way it seemed to me is that was one branch of
that's probably the way they're gonna have to do it.
Like, that's not the whole actual population and the main population of the Skrulls. That was just like one side of it or something. The breakaway, the refugees, and I think they even say they're refugees.
So let's get to some of these notes that I have on this, just so we can get this out of the way. Okay. Some of the notes I have, some serious notes. White people weddings are boring. It's coming from an Indian. We do weddings way better than y'all do. Boring as hell. When Mr. Immortal jumps out of the window, I think that is a good allegory for everybody who's watching this show, because this show makes me want to jump out of a window. Also, any man who's been in a room with two women going off like that has felt like that in their lives.
Hey, first of all, let me stop you. I'm from Louisiana. That it was a very much of a Valley Girl social media type depiction of a funny. They were trying to make fun of that girl and what she thought a good wedding was. Trust me, my weddings that I've grown up going to, and my wedding that I had, those are baller weddings too.
Have you been to an Indian wedding, Bobo?
Have you been to a wedding in New Orleans?
Of course.
A white wedding in New Orleans?
Man, I have some dirty down south friends that are white. The majority of my friends growing up were white. I've been to those weddings. You ain't been to a wedding until you've been to an Indian wedding.
Okay, well, I haven't been to one, so I can't compare.
They can be a little bit ostentatious, as a matter of fact. Some needs do it up a little too much, but it's a 5-day party.
I'm just saying, you can't make a statement like that and saying that.
Yes, I can.
We don't.
I've been to both.
Weddings. You haven't been to weddings I've been to.
Your weddings are trash.
You're sounding uneducated right now.
I've been to the Louisiana weddings. You haven't been to an Indian wedding. Who's uneducated?
You haven't been to a Louisiana wedding because you're talking trash about it. You haven't been to one if you're talking trash about it. Hey, listen. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sure they're nice if you've never been to an Indian wedding, but when you go to an Indian wedding, they're not. The best they're mid. Okay.
Agree to disagree. Right. I'm not talking trash about yours. You're just saying mine's trash.
I'm not saying your wedding is trash. Your wedding was probably a bunch of fun. I didn't get an invite though.
Internet. So mine
we were friends back then, just so you know, and I didn't get an invite to his wedding, so I can't speak on his wedding.
Talk to Denise about that.
So okay, but of course, the scene where Mr. Mortal jumps out of the window. Don't tell me that you weren't having thoughts of doing the same while watching the show. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, he was pointless. This whole idea of us seeing all these randos come in and do their civil lawsuit stuff. Like, I enjoyed the two girls and what they were doing
Mm-hmm.
because I enjoy their acting and I think they're kind of good on screen, and I honestly find them both pretty attractive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care about all these things.
Yeah, I will say that Nikki Ramos scene where she's divvying out what the settlements are. I
Right.
feel like that was an improv scene. I bet you they have multiple takes of her, like when she was like, and you get a sincere apology with 20 seconds of eye contact. I bet you there's multiple scenes where they were just kind of going off, right?
No,
She was
you're
just kind
probably
of firing
right.
out different things.
You're probably
I would
right.
like to see some of those outtakes.
Well, yeah, and honestly, man, most of the best stuff comes from you know what to do in the scene, you know what the premise is, you know what needs to be conveyed. Here's two critical lines that need to be inserted at the point they need to be inserted. Other than that, make it natural. Let's go over it a few times. Y'all start doing it. And usually
Yeah.
that's the best shit that you get in TV shows and in movies. When
Sure,
it's
sure.
just like
Curb Your Enthusiasm, great example.
prime example of that. It would not be what it is if it didn't have all that improv in there. Now that's the show's formula, but I also think that when you have stuff that is just so scripted, I don't know, it comes off like the girl that played Ghost and Ant-Man and Wasp.
The most unrealistic thing in this show, in this episode 6 to me, was not anything to do with She-Hulk. It's we meet the guy Josh, who may or may not be a love interest, right? And we
He's
first hear
sharing
about
fries with her at the end.
Josh because the bridesmaids talk to Jen and they're like, "Oh, Josh, he's great. I love him. He's the best." Anytime a girl says that to you about anyone, whether it's a guy or a girl, just know that they are lying. They pity that person, and that person doesn't have a significant other for a reason, and they just want to hook them up to get him or her out of their lives. All right,
Setups, I don't do setups. If somebody's like, "Oh, you should,"
bro.
it's like,
The
"Nope,
biggest
I'm already know." No.
the biggest lie in this show was that line right there when that guy ended up being the best when they said he was the best. That shows me that these writers have no friends.
So,
you know,
so what do you so you're saying that he's going to be something bad, like an actual significant part of
Well,
the show?
maybe he would. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised now that we say it, but I think that they just. I think that this female writer was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna bring in a nice guy, and Jen's bridesmaids, who are bitches to her the entire time, are gonna tell her that he's the best and he's gonna want to be the best. That's so unrealistic. Hey, listen, if a girl says you need to meet a friend of mine, you need to run. All right. If you're a guy or a girl, either way, right? Just run
same thing
away.
with if a guy's like, "Hey, you need to meet this girl," it was like,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah.
Why is she single?
Yeah,
Nope.
especially if you're a guy and you're saying, "Hey, I need you to hook up with my friend." My first thought is, why don't you try to hook up with her if she's so great? Because we both know you're a selfish son of a bitch, man. And if this girl was really that awesome, you'd want to hook up with her. She ain't all that. I know it. Now I know it, right?
Yeah. I again don't do setups. I just don't. It's never gone good.
Also, what type of lawyer is Jen? Is she a criminal defense lawyer or is she a civil lawyer?
I can't remember that she said it at the very beginning, but then remember what's his name said he wanted her to be the head of the superhuman.
So she's a criminal defense lawyer, right? But in this episode, these two episodes deal with civil lawsuits. One book is like representing her because she's like, well, at least you know better than to represent yourself. And I'm like, well, this is not the type of law she practices. So why would she want to represent herself?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. They're showing us side stuff going on with the law firm that she has nothing to do with, and we're seeing her go off and do certain things like go to the wedding or get costumes made. And the other thing I got to say about this show that I'm kind of disappointed in is that this is for the first time in a Marvel show. It's really not allowed me to do any theorizing. Part of the fun of watching these shows is to be like, oh, so I wonder if that means that. Oh, are they bringing in? This show's not giving you anything to make theories on.
Oh, no, it is. Here's the theory: is what desperate cameo are they going to pull out of their ass next?
That's what I'm saying. It's nothing. It's nothing to me. I mean, obviously they're creating the show so we can create the character of She-Hulk. That's fine, but I'm just saying, take the She-Hulk out of it. I'm just talking about the show itself being one of the things I've liked about MCU shows on Disney Plus thus far. Is allowing you the fact of kind of like that when you guys are doing the House of Dragon stuff that I'm going to join y'all on. It's fun theorizing about what's going to go down. You can't do that with this show, except for the cameos. Who's going to be the cameo? I wonder, maybe they'll bring in this because that, but it doesn't make me think of a theory about something significant happening in the MCU. Whereas the other shows, especially WandaVision, dude, theories were all over the internet of that. And I love that vibe. I love that feeling.
Facts. Bobo,
you don't get that.
Yeah, this show has been more worthless than another Clerks sequel. Okay?
Oh, dude. Okay. You know what's funny about that is that first off, I like Clerks too. I'm going to be the first one to say, though.
God.
I do.
Bobo.
I like it. But I'm going to be the first one to say it is a little over the top, and I definitely don't think that part 3. I don't think that a part 3 was even needed to be thought about.
It needs to be thought about because Kevin Smith probably is broke. That's why it needs to be thought about.
Well, look here. First, again, Kevin, I love you. That's not me that's hating on you. That's Anshul.
But Kevin, you suck.
I will say this: they had a Kevin Smith. They had a Clerks 3 screening deal for like between the 13th and the 18th of September, and it was advertised on the AMC Plus app and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I click on it to see the showtimes, and it's saying showtime's not available anywhere. And I'm like,
AMC probably watched it. It was like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah. But they're still advertising it on their site. Anyways, it was just interesting that's the way it goes. Kevin, I love you.
Kevin, hire other people to write your movies, and then I'll like you again. Don't write your own movies. Just put your name on it. That's all you gotta do. Hey, listen, Kevin's got a brand, right? He does that podcast, Fat Man and whatever. Even though he's not fat anymore, he got thumb stomach, he's not fat. Like, this is how much this guy can't write. He can't even rename his show, right? You're no longer fat, Kevin. I don't know if you noticed this.
Well,
I don't know if you
look in the mirror. That's got weight, his
But he's not the fat man. He's the whatever dude. What is the name of the podcast? Fat Man whatever?
Well, there's Fat Man Beyond, but then they do different names sometimes of it, but I know what you're talking about. Look.
You can't come up with 2 words, Kevin. You can't write 2 words.
All right, enough hating on Kevin.
All right. Well, he's got listen. Just put your name on projects and let talented people do the projects for you. Just stay away. We don't need you anymore. Okay? Kind of like we don't really need She-Hulk at this point, to be quite honest.
I really wish it was like, all right, next episode was the finale, because I just want something to go down. And again, like to tease to us that the Abomination is in it, and he's like barely in one episode and he's in another episode. Like, that's just wrong, because he's been not a part of it. I don't feel I forgot that Abomination was in it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, and remember Abomination was in it in the beginning. It's like
just bad storytelling, man. It's they felt like they could hook you in and then save the superhero stuff for the end, and maybe they had to. Maybe, to be fair, it's CG's expensive, and so they had to ride it this way. And then that it would be a nice crescendo to whatever the story.
Tighten it up, man. Then tighten it up and make it shorter.
But unfortunately, the rest of the show's not hitting.
Shorter length of a show. Your
storylines aren't hitting. They're not keeping people interested. Your jokes aren't hitting. You should have written the show where she has superhero adventures in between, right? And then you could write the rest of the show around those adventures and have people interested. And have a little bit of something for everybody. But you're saving it all till the end for whatever reason, money or whatever. And listen, only because I'm doing this show, I'm going to keep watching. And I feel like I guarantee you a lot of people have given up on the show already.
A lot of my friends have, and I hate to say that. And look, I'm also another thing is I don't get like tons of views on my videos. Sometimes I get a decent amount. Sometimes I don't get, a ton. But the She-Hulk videos have been getting no views. Like literally like 7, 8, 9 views. So I'm just saying that right there. There's not a lot of people interested in watching it. The only reason I'm finishing this out is because we started it, and I just want to finish what I started. But yeah, let's just hope something changes. But right now, I'm just, this is adding to the momentum that Marvel has set me on. The MCU has set me on as far as starting to decline. This is just adding to that momentum.
I still haven't watched Hawkeye. I still haven't watched Miss Marvel because they've been doing such a bad job of keeping me interested in their product. And now you put out more product. You're diluting the marketplace, right? We're going to talk some finance here, right? You have an inferior product and you keep releasing that inferior product. All you're doing is diluting your own brand name and making it less appealing, right? So, yeah, best example right there. Now, to Disney's, I guess, credit, if you want to give them credit, they bought that property. They had to make their money back. They just put somebody in charge that didn't know how to manage that product,
Well, but do you have to make your money back by this certain deadline, or can you make it back slowly?
Yeah, I mean, it's listen, people, it's investors, and if you want to keep investors, we're a very market heavy society now. A lot of people invest in the stock market that never invest in the market, which creates a lot of income for these companies, but it also creates a need to keep these stockholders happy. And so
Sure. Yeah.
when you do these annual
Cyberpunk.
reports, you want to have some good profits, et cetera, because if you don't, then analysts on CNN are going to talk about it just for a talking point, and people are going to start selling your stock because they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're just going to listen to the doom and gloom, analysts on CNN, and it just creates a whole negative cycle.
Well, again, if they could figure out a way to just reel it in, and I'm not saying stop, just and again, I don't want to keep this going much longer because I like to keep this under that hour mark, but like the Outback company, I worked for them when I was a lot younger, and I worked for them for a long time, and they grew really fast. They grew big too. They grew too big too fast, and they ended up having to shut down stores, and they had to readjust. And there's ways to back it off without stopping doing what you're doing, but I do think that they're just getting too big. There's just too much going on.
And listen, I'm not saying that it's the right formula. I understand from a business perspective why somebody might think that this is what they need to do, but it's not. It's really just diluting the brand name.
Yeah.
Because you need to make it good, and it's not been good. This show has not been good, and this is a character that I love. So lest I may think that I'm coming from some sexist angle, like some of those other guys on those channels, I love the She-Hulk character.
Yeah, and let me back Anshul on that, because I mean you definitely are a reader of a lot of female titles, and because you enjoy those titles, not just because you're buying them. You really know about them, and I think that's probably why you're not impressed with this show, because it's nothing like what you read.
I like well-written characters, whether it be male or female. I'm not just reading female comics because they're hot or whatever. Like most comic book nerds, you got the internet now. You got Pornhub. You don't need to read comic books just because females are hot. But if it's a good, interesting character, you're going to be all in it, and that's what I want. I just want good storytelling, and it's so hard to come by. At this point, like I said, I'd rather watch a show about Mallory Book as opposed to She-Hulk, because that character was written way better, and she is a cameo character that we might not even see again.
Hey, the best superhero stuff that's been on TV for the past few years is The Boys.
Oh yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Well, Invincible might have something to say about that.
Well, cartoon. So I'm talking about real filmmaking. Not to say that's not filmmaking, because it is. It's its own style of filmmaking.
You hear that, animators? Bobo doesn't think you're a real filmmaker.
No, that's not what I said. I'm talking about like actual film. But anyways, hey, thank you for joining me again, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We'll come back next week, even though we'll hate every minute of it.
Yeah,
not because of each other, but because of the show.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I mean, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, but we'll see. But my glass is starting to become actually empty. So, with that being said, guys, thank y'all so much for joining. I'll see you a little later, Anshul.
Yep.
And look, guys, if y'all haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And remember, if life gives you some lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorn.